What's going on, guys? This is Gene Jensen. Right here next to me, I've got the new KBF National Champion, Mr. Mike Elsea. And I'm just going to do this really quick. I'm going to have him kind of explain the technique that he used to catch the majority of his fish during that 3-day grind.
That's exactly what it was a grind. You know, basically I was just flipping big isolated trees. I was using a Texas rig, creature bait, like a beaver or a strike king rodent. Texas rigging it with a, most of the time I was using an 1/8 ounce Titan tungsten weight, paired up with a 3/0 Gamakatsu EWG heavy duty wire hook. Again, just Texas rig, barely skin that hook to kind of keep it buried so that you don't get hung up quite as much. And I mean, that's pretty much the bait itself.
Where were the bass located at the time?
Most of the bass I was catching, like I said, they were on these great big isolated trees out away from, you know, islands and things that you'll see here after a bit. They were just all by themselves. If there was a tree that was 300 yards all by itself, I would pedal myself to that tree 300 yards, catch that fish. There would be one on it. I was almost guaranteed. And I look around, and if there's another tree 400 yards the other direction, guess what? I'm pedaling myself 400 yards to that other tree.
Why do you think they were on those isolated trees?
Well, just from research, I learned that some of these big females virtually spend their whole life there on those kinds of trees. Not only to get away from all the fishing pressure on this lake, but they spawn on these big trees. They stage on those big trees prior to spawn. And then guess where they're at post-spawn? The same big trees.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was just trying to find areas. Spots weren't the deal. It was about finding areas that had isolated trees away from the crowds, away from small islands, fairly close to deep water. And now that's all relevant depending on the type of water that you're in. This lake is pretty shallow overall. I did, however, catch a fish in 8 foot of water. I was pretty,
oh goodness.
Yeah, but I also caught fish in 2 foot.
Yep.
It wasn't really about the depth. It was about that isolation. All trees aren't created equal. They look like it, but below the surface, the way the cypress knees, you know, some of them have more, some of them, you know, have grass around them and whatnot. But it was just finding that isolated tree and making a perfect presentation, and that's the whole other video, honestly.
Yeah, that's totally awesome. We're gonna let him go out with Chad and film a little bit, but I'm gonna get out in the water and put his little pattern idea, whatever, to the test and see if we can't put something together. We've had a little bit of a weather change, actually quite a bit of a weather change.
Yeah, it's 37 degrees right now.
Yeah, it's 23, 24 degrees colder than it was when he was fishing a few days ago, but still, they should be there.
They should be there. Yeah. They may be a little tight-lipped, but they'll still be there.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, brother. Hey, congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Dude is $72,500 richer because of that tournament. So yeah, he's still trying to get it in his head.
I don't even know.
All right, let's go. All right, so I finally get to go fishing. I've been following these knuckleheads around for 4, 5, I don't know how many days, a lot of days, and have not been able to put a rod in my hand. So we're out on Caddo Lake. We're gonna take what we learned from Mike about his pattern and we're gonna put it to the test, and I'm gonna show you guys everything that I know about fishing cypress trees. I hope. All right, so let's talk about kind of how a cypress tree is designed, the makeup of a cypress tree, okay? So first of all, it is a submerged base tree is what it is. And you've got the main trunk that goes down to I mean, I've seen them as deep as 12, 15 feet, but that's rare. These are at about 7.5, 8 feet deep. But it goes down and then you have a big, you know, big bulb at the end. So it goes down, you get the root balls that come out. And then out from the tree are what we call knees, cypress knees. You hear a lot of people talk about them that fish cypress a lot. And they're like pieces of the root that are shooting up like stumps all the way around this tree. And depending on the age of the tree, the size of the tree, and everything else is how far they reach out. So the old ones can have them, you know, several feet out from the base of the tree. And in a lot of places of lakes like this one, like Caddo, you got a soft bottom, and those knees and the base of that tree and the trunk of that tree are the only hard bottom that there is on the lake or in that area of the lake. So if you concentrate on the stump and the knees, 9 times out of 10 the bass are going to be located in those areas. They'll spawn on them, they will hang out on them, they spend their life around these trees. So we're going to put that to the test, see if we can't figure out what kind of a mood the bass are in on this one. This cold front might have pulled them away from the trunk of the tree and pulled them out to the outside edge of those knees. And that's just a matter of working out a little bit further away from the tree than we have, or than the anglers have in the last few days. So stay tuned, let's figure that out. All right, so I got a couple of things tied on. I got basically the same thing Mike had tied on. This is a Rage Bug EWG hook. This is a about a 16th or 8 ounce tungsten weight. I think it's 8 ounce. And I'm going to use that to pitch around the trees. I got 17-pound Seaguar fluorocarbon on one of the new Envy rods that just came out, and the Concept Boss, which is also a new reel that came out, new higher end reel that they just sent me, and I'm trying out for the first time. But and then the other thing is kind of cool. I got trying a new rig that I've never tried before, kind of like a Nico rig. It's got the worm weight in the bottom of it, a little bit heavier weight than I normally use. But then I Texas rigged a EWG, a light wire EWG on it, on the top. So I got the weight on the bottom and it just dances on the bottom like that. So it's not wacky rigged, it's more of just, I don't know, a different look. Saw it in a picture the other day. I was like, I'm gonna try that out. So that's what I'm doing. All right, as you can see, this tree out in front of us is all by itself. So isolated cover is kind of what Mike was fishing, which is a pretty cool little deal. So I'm gonna try his bait first, or his technique first, and then I'm gonna move around and try this little Nico rig modification. Alright, so typically when it's not a freezing cold, freaking cloudy day, you'll get sun that warms up these trees, and you know, the sun beating down on the base of that tree, that the tree will actually warm up a little bit warmer than the water temperature. And I found that the isolated trees get the most sun because there's not another tree there that's shading it, and so the bass will literally move around to the sunny side of the tree this time of the year as the water's warming up, and they just stay on that sunny side. And so you'll find that you'll catch a lot more fish pre-spawn and spawn and in the springtime around these isolated trees. It has a lot to do with it. Another thing is a lot of these trees have grass around it, but right along the trunk itself will be a space that's doesn't have any grass. It'd just be, you know, a few inches, but that the bass will hang out right between the grass and the tree trunk. So your first cast is right at the tree trunk. Work it around the tree trunk really good, and then if there's no grass in the area, which I don't have, but then I'll work it out slowly to the knees. But because I have grass, I literally will pitch and let it fall straight down, and just kind of each cast make multiple casts further and further out from the tree as I'm working my way around. It takes a long time, but once you figure out where those bass are located on those knees or on that trunk, then you can make that same pitch to every tree, and you can limit the number of casts that you make at the tree. So I'm gonna keep doing it. My hopes aren't up for today. The water temperature has dropped 6.5 degrees in the last 2 days, and so I mean, it's right at 60 degrees right now, and it's still dropping. The air temperature right now is in the mid 40s, so not ideal for a video, but it's the only day that I have a fish, so hopefully I can catch something. Alright, so with the weather change, Mike's pattern probably is not holding up. I'm not getting a bite. I haven't seen him get a bite. Scott just radioed me and told me that He caught 2 on a square bill. I don't have any square bills in the boat, but I do have a chatterbait. So I tied on a little jackhammer chatterbait, and I'm gonna work my way around these trees. I'm actually gonna cover the grass flats too, or the grassy areas. I want to find some hydrilla. I saw some floating a while ago, but I haven't been able to find any hydrilla beds. So it's my favorite kind of grass to fish anyway. So we're gonna work our way around these trees. Ooh, that felt good, but it was a blade of grass. Yeah, but a lot of this deal about isolated cover stands true, man, year round. I'm telling you, if you ever come across a piece of cover, log, rocks, you know, tree trunk, anything that the fat bass can hold on, if you find it and it's all by itself, you better pay attention and you better make a few casts to it, because that's the kind of stuff that bass love to hang around. I'll give you a for instance. If you take just a swimming pool, a big, large swimming pool, and you put a bunch of bass in it, 5, 10 bass in it, and it's all the same color, all a blue liner of a swimming pool, those bass will roam and roam and roam, and they'll never school up, and they'll just kind of roam around. Take a black circle or black dot and lay it on the bottom, and within minutes every single one of those fish will be on that black dot, because it's the only thing to position them or for them to hold on and to relate to in that whole entire swimming pool. That's kind of what a bass, or that's exactly what a bass likes. It likes to have something to relate to 9 times out of 10. It may be up in the water column, it may be down in the water column, and they may be willing to bite and they may not be willing to bite, but they always want to relate to something. Largemouth bass in particular, because that's just the way they are. And so when you come across a piece of isolated cover or something that is all by itself, make a few casts to it, and you might catch a fish of a lifetime, or just a fish. I'd like to catch something today, except for a cold. All right, let's keep trying. There's one right there. Yeah! Good one too. Got him. Whoo! Look at that son of a gun. Beautiful, beautiful Louisiana bass. Or Texas, or whatever we're in. We cross the Texas line to get here. But anyway, nice fish. Whew. Isolated cover. Awesome. Awesome. We'll get him back in the water. Awesome. That fish was on a tree all by itself. And that fish stinks. I mean, stinks. That could be the smelliest bass I ever caught. I wonder what he's been eating. Nothing. Oh. Tired of fishing on tough days. I want to fish on a good day. But I hope you guys learned something from this video. If you like this video, be sure to hit subscribe, hit that little like button, thumbs up, whatever you want to call it. But man, I just love teaching people how to fish. So like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Introduce them to my channel. Let me help you teach them how to fish. More importantly, get out on the water, go ahead and catch some fish, and have a great day. We'll see you.